Hey, what's up? It's me, Jessica J, and I was just wondering if you've ever sat and thought to yourself, is there a way to hack a woman's mind? Well, I'm glad you asked, because today I'm gonna go over 7 phrases and questions, where are you going, that'll help you hack a woman's mind so that you could get her hooked on you and wanting you even more. And to make sure you never miss out on another girl that you do want or another one of my videos, don't forget to hit the subscribe button right here, right now. Now, when I talk about hacking a woman's mind, I'm basically talking about getting in there and planting the seed of you and her together. And because we women are in a default state of being in our feelings, all you really have to do is get us feeling something for you so that we think about you and then make it our idea to catch you and keep you. So one thing I want to remind you, which I always say, is that energy is contagious, especially with we women, since we are so much more in tune with feeling our own emotions in a given moment. We're that much more susceptible to feeling what your emotions are in a given moment. So because your energy and your attitude are transferable in any given moment in an interaction with a woman, one thing to note is that curiosity and intrigue beget curiosity and intrigue. So the first phrase that'll get us hooked on you is something I always talk about in my Speak to Spark Arousal program, which is, how about you? So they've done a lot of studies in terms of what gets a conversation going, how to be more connected in a conversation, and the simple phrase of how about you helps connect yourself and what you're talking about to who she is and what she can bring to the table. So for instance, if you're sitting there saying, yeah, I was just in Jersey and I partied really fucking hard with my family because my family is really fucking insane, you can connect her to that moment by saying, how about you? How crazy is your family? And then what that does is it forces us to now think about how we can relate to you. And because of cognitive dissonance, which I talk about all the time in terms of if we get our bodies to do something, our minds and hearts will catch up. If we find ourselves involuntarily searching for ways to connect with you, that automatically tells our bodies that, oh my God, I must really like him because I'm trying to connect with him. So the second question is a little bit like, how about you? It's, what's that like? Again, like I said earlier, curiosity begets curiosity. So if you feel curious about her and what her life is like, she's automatically gonna think, well, now I wanna know what he's like. So say you ask her, so what do you do for a living, girl? And she says something like, well, I'm an accountant at a weed factory. I don't know if weed factories have accountants, you could say something like, oh my God, never heard of that. What's that like? Again, you could take any seemingly monotonous, generalized occupation and get her to delve deeper. Because we're so ingrained to have these standard responses to standard everyday questions, what you're doing is you're throwing her off a little bit and not only showing curiosity by saying, what's that like? You're also showing her that you're a little different than the other guy she's come across. Now, the third phrase is, if that were me. This is when you put yourself in her shoes to make her think about you being in the same position she is, which will eventually lead to y'all being in some positions together. One of the things that gets us feeling comfortable around other people is realizing how much they're like us. And another thing that gets us to trust people is to realize that they're on our side in a way. So for instance, maybe she just told you about the first time she went skydiving and she cried like a little bitch. You can say something like, oh my God, girl, if that were me, I would have been crying too. We could have held each other. It would have been a real tearjerker. Now she's forcing herself to think about you in that memory that she had of herself. And once we start thinking about us together, exactly, we'll do whatever it takes to make sure that we get you to be with us together. Now the fourth one is a little bit like the second one, where you say something like, oh, I've never heard about that before. Tell me more. Again, this not only shows that you have curiosity as to who she is, but you are also intrigued by being taught something new about the world from her. We as humans are generally, we feel good about being able to show people something new that they didn't realize before. And when we women can do that, when we feel like we can broaden your life a little bit in that sense, we're gonna broaden our life a little bit to get you into ours. So for instance, maybe she said something like, I'm a dating coach for men. You can say something like, what the fuck? I've never heard about that before, girl. Tell me more. Now here you want to be a little careful about asking her to expand on her job as opposed to asking her to expand on her experience. Which brings me to number 5, where unlike number 2 where we ask what's that like, we're going to ask what was that like for you. Again, we're talking about getting to know her a little more, delving deeper into her heart and soul to eventually get in deep to her vajay. So she might say something like, yeah, I grew up as like the middle child and it was like really awkward sometimes. You might say something like, whoa, I was an only child. What was it like for you growing up as the middle child? Again, we're getting past the niceties, past the small talk, and we're delving deeper. Because we women want you to delve deep into us. I promise you, we have pussies for a reason. Okay, that was a little extreme, but if you think about the biology of women, we were meant to be penetrated. Which brings me to number 6. Say she was like, oh my god, it was like really weird because like I felt like I had like no friends because like my brother and sister hated me. You could be like, oh my god girl, me too. You could say, I felt like I was alone all the time too, but that's because I was. All I had was my crazy dog. What you're doing with oh my god, me too is you're showing that you guys have a similarity and a likeness and that you're relatable, and we automatically like people who are like us because our number one interest is exactly, it's our motherfucking selves. Which brings me to the very last one, which is this. Listen, for all the fucking talking you can be doing, you can also do a lot of not talking that'll get you a lot farther than you could talking. Does that make sense? A lot of guys are in the mind of like, I have to do something, I always have to say the right thing. Sometimes saying nothing is the best thing to say. Or not say. Many guys will equate silence with awkward silence, but really in the silence, that's when we get to feel the tension of being able to chase you just as much as you've been chasing or talking to us. That's the space where we feel the need to now get to know you. We feel that need to come after you and get to know you more. But only when you stop to shut the fuck up will we be able to feel that absolutely necessary sexual tension to come after you. So let us feel it so we can feel your peen later. This is actually one of the most common mistakes in the 10 mistakes most guys make when it comes to women. So if you haven't yet checked it out, don't forget to put your email right here so you can find out what the other 9 are. And those are the 7 things that you can be saying to get us hooked even more and throwing our clothes off for you on the floor. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.